Hi, welcome back to 5 Minutes in the Word with Redeemed Girl Ministries. I'm a big fan of C.S. Lewis. I know that's kind of like a Captain Obvious statement for a Christian teacher, but I am. I love especially his allegory to the Christian life, The Chronicles of Narnia. And if you haven't read those, I highly recommend it because they teach such spiritual truth in such a beautiful way. The last book of the series is called The Last Battle. And in that book, what Lewis does is something so profound. He describes the spiritual darkness and the deception the world is under in a way that even the smallest child can understand. And in this book, there's an ape who has a donkey, and the ape finds an old lion suit, and he dresses up this donkey as a lion. Now, in Narnia, Aslan is the king of Narnia, and he is a Christ figure. He represents Jesus. And so what this ape does is he dresses up this donkey to pretend like he's Aslan so he can deceive the people, he can get worship, and he can get power. Well, what happens is the people begin to believe that this donkey, who's ruled by this ape, actually is the king. And in doing so, they begin to worship him, and they become slaves to the ape, and they are completely deceived. Well, this is a picture of the world we live in, because this world we live in is ruled by Satan, and in who the Word of God calls the father of lies. Now, that's very important, that the world that in which we're born into is a world that is a system that's opposed to God, and the primary communication of that system is lies. Now, why is that important? Because today, we're looking at a characteristic of God that counteracts all of that. It's where God says, I am the truth. The word truth means that which corresponds to the standard or to the original, meaning there is an original copy, and what truth is, it aligns with that. Now, 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ, who made the most audacious claim in all of human history, where he said he is God, stepped into human history. He came to reveal to us who God is. He came to show us the way, and he uttered the most audacious claim. He uttered the most audacious claim that's ever been spoken when he said these words from John 14:6. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. Now, I want you to think about this. The world at that time was in captivity to sin, Satan, and darkness. And we've already said that Satan is the father of lies. Jesus, who is God in the flesh, steps on the scene, and he says, I am the way. There is one way. He is, I am the way. He says, I am the truth. You want to know what truth is? Look at me. You want to know what the difference between the enemy's ways? Look at me. Jesus says, I am the truth. And he says, and I am the life. The exact opposite of the deception, the darkness, and everything else of the world. Jesus stands front and center and says, I am. So here's our call. Our call is, if we want to know truth, we've got to know Jesus. If we want to know the way, we've got to know Jesus. If we want to know life, we've got to know Jesus, because the world is going to lie to us. This world that is ruled by the enemy will lie to us, but we can know truth. We can know God, we can know the way, because God has made himself known through his Son, Jesus Christ, who says, I am the truth.